I'm ready for this.
Illustrations by me.
So it has been a very long time in the making. I have been waiting for this for a very long time. I have the Kuretake Granulating Set 2. I ordered this thing months ago. I had pre-ordered it before it was even available. It finally came through, or at least before it was available over here. And then it came through and it said, okay, we're gonna ship it. And then I got it. And then I had several other things that I had to record before I can actually show you. I haven't even opened it yet. It's still in the packaging here. But it is, from what I understand, it's supposed to be very nice. It was a little deformed and decrepit in the shipping. I found out why they're doing this. I did it wrong last time. I will admit it. There's 3 different ways you can use this. So the first time when I reviewed the first set, the first video I did straight from the pan onto the page, and it was a little bit dark and muddy. It was a little bit dark. And then I put a big area of water and charged the paint into the water, and that seemed to be okay. That worked okay, but it was very light. You had to charge it into a lot of water with very little paint in order to get that separation. So when I did the piece that I did, which I'll pop up somewhere over here, it was too light. It was just way too light. And people said, I don't know what you're doing, but that's not how other people do it. Yes, don't worry about that. So then everybody was commenting about this extra pan. And I said, well, maybe it's for something. If you have a color that's missing, you can add a color in here if you think the set's missing something. No, it says right on the packaging what it's for. You're supposed to put water in here. And then you're supposed to put the paint in here and let it sit for a couple of minutes. And that's when I made the second video. The problem is this. I think they're taking a little bit of a, it's kind of like a cop-out, I think. Just in my opinion. I love Kuretake paints. You know that. I talk about them all the time. But I think in this instance, it's a little bit of a cop-out having an empty pan. Because really, you have 5 other colors. If that's what they were going to do, then they should have a 10-pan set, 5 colors, and 5 empty pans. That way you can put water for each one of them. Because if you just use this, now every time you have to put the water in, put the paint in, let it separate, then use it, then rinse it out, then do the next color. That's not how you're supposed to do it. That's not the way it works. So they could have either made a 6-piece set, which is what I think they should have done, or a 10-pan set with 5 with colors in it and 5 without. That would be more to their point, what they're trying to say. However, I'm still very excited to try these. These have very different colors from the last ones. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out the other ones and just compare them a little bit. But I'm going to swatch these 3 different ways. So I will take my pad and I will put on there just straight out of the pan. Then I'll put a big swath of water down and charge some color into it. And then I will put the paint in a separate tin, or a separate tray with some water in it. And then wait for it to separate and then put it on the paper. So you'll see 3 ways for each color. This is paint some assembly required. That's what this is. But it's granulating colors too. Everyone was excited about it. Everyone started using it, of course, way before I can get my hands on it. That's fine too. And now you'll see my take on it, which you don't care about. Don't worry about that. Look, I can pronounce this one. It's called Granulating Colors 2. What do you think about that? I will never let that go. I ordered these on May 14th. That's when I ordered these. And they took a while to come. It was a little bit later. So we're gonna go into the top down now, and I'm going to start swatching these out. I'm gonna still talk to you, but we're gonna see what we can do with these. Okay, so I just wanna let you know that when you go, I know everybody's gonna argue with this. I'm with you on it, I understand. The Gansai Tambi, they're completely different than regular watercolor. However, on the website, it says traditional Japanese pan watercolor for professional artists and crafters. Just want you to know that. It calls them watercolor. So everybody that argues and says they're not really watercolor, that's what the company's calling them. Traditional Japanese pan watercolor. I understand that they're a different animal compared to some of the other things, but that's just what they call them, so that's how I'm going to refer to them. Now, something I find very interesting about these is you can go on the website and they have the pigment numbers for every one of their colors, except for the opal colors. I don't see anything. The mica colors, I don't see anything. And the granulating colors and the sumi colors. I don't see any pigment information for those. So the specialty sets, no pigment information. If you go to the regular, well, even the graphite set has some pigment information. So I don't know, and all of their regular ones, I believe, have regular pigment information. These do not. For whatever reason, they chose not to put any pigment information for these. So I don't know what the pigments are that they're mixing to get this. We're not going over that in this video, but we're going to do a full swatching and I will do a painting. I've got this little thing here. This is what I'm going to put the paint in with the extra water. I'm going to soak it, put a lot of water in, put some paint in, let it separate. That's what's going on here. Let's recap a little bit here. Here's some of the, this is how it looked when I did it the other way last time. I put it straight from the pan and then I put water down first and charged it in. I really like the way that this looks when you put the water down first and then charge it in. So you basically have two different colors here. But this one here, I also got this color from, this whole thing here. It's separated a lot more, granulated a lot more, and this is one that I put soaked in the water. So I said I was wrong with how I did the other ones. There's actually 3 ways you can use this, and I'm going to use these this way. I'm using 100% cotton watercolor paper, cold press, so there's a lot of texture, so you see some of the separation a little better, hopefully. I hope you do. I'm not sure. You should. And before I do that, I just want to compare them with one other thing. These are Dark Days. I know I can't say the name here. Everybody will freak out at me. I'm a terrible war criminal. But this set here, I absolutely loved these paints. The Dark Days are beautiful. And you see here how they separate, how they do separate inside. And I did the same way that I did here when I just put down the water and then charged the paint in. And that's what I did here. And they separate absolutely beautifully. And I love those colors. I love those paints. I use them all the time. Let's see, I will put this next to it so you can see it a little bit. Yeah, you can see the whole thing on the screen, or at least you should be able to. Okay, so let's start with the first one here. We're gonna start with the red, the Cosmic Red. We're just gonna take it straight out of here and just put it right here. And here's the Cosmic Red by itself, just plain right out of the pan. It's not gonna separate much. You're not gonna see that much. And I know a lot of people say, oh, you should spray it first so it activates a little better. I like to see what it looks like when it comes straight out of the pan here. So I want to see how well it reactivates. That's a part of it. Here's the Cosmic Olive, which looks very dark, very muddy. I get it. It's probably a beautiful color once you can separate it. Let's go for some Cosmic Green. It looks like a bluish green in the pan. Let's see how that works. So here's the Cosmic Green. Yeah, very pretty color. Very nice. Almost a little bit of Iridian in there, I think. I don't know. I have no idea. Don't quote me on anything I say about these. I don't know. But it did not stain my brush, so it's not a phthalo. I think it's a little bit more of like a Viridian hue, but we'll see. Cosmic Blue, which doesn't look blue at all, but it could be. Let's see how that looks. Oh, it does. It is very blue. It doesn't look blue in the pan. It looks, can you see the pan? It looks almost like a green, but it comes off very blue. So that's a pretty color. Okay, Cosmic Violet. Let's see that one here. Let's see how that goes. And there you go, some Cosmic Violet. I'm going to have another go at the Cosmic Red. I think I may have cheapened it out a little bit. Maybe I didn't have the brush as wet as I wanted it to. Yeah, that's a little bit better. It's a little bit stronger. It's a lot more red. So roughly, when you first look at these, unlike the other ones, look at these here. So let me slide this over here. So that doesn't look red for red. This doesn't look pink for pink. This is not orange. This is not blue. And that is violet. So this is the only one that actually looks like the color that it is. This looks more like a magenta color maybe, but none of the other colors look straight off the pan the way that they normally did in that first set. These look 100% like what they're called. Red, Olive, I could see. It's a little muddy, maybe a little bit muddy, more like a brownish for an olive, but still, I could see that that could be an olive if you lightened it up a little bit. Green, blue, and violet, all wonderful. Okay, now we're gonna charge some color in, so I'm gonna start putting some color down, some water down here first, and then I'm going to take that red and kind of charge it in there. And let's see what it does. That's what I wanted the Schminke Volcano Red to be, and it wasn't. I know everybody says, oh, you did it wrong. Nope, did it right, didn't do what it needed to do. That's not my fault. So you see the red starting to separate a little bit? It's actually separating down here a lot with a lot of granulation. Surprising. I didn't think it was going to do that right here. But let's see, it's starting to separate more. Some of that yellow's coming out of it, I think. Yeah, and in the Cosmic set, it shows the yellow coming out. So I can see it. I can see it all down in here a lot. I can definitely see it starting to form around the edges. That one, I don't know. That one's supposed to be more like a green with just like maybe a little bit of blue in it. I don't know. No, maybe that's this one. This one maybe, but it doesn't have that blue. I don't see that dark purple. Oh, maybe. I might start to see that dark purple in there a little bit. We're going to see on the second swatch how that works. So remember, the idea of these is you have 3 different paints in one pan. You can use it 3 different ways, and hopefully you can get some good results with that. So let's see. Maybe is that not? No, that's right into the puddles of water. It's just not doing it. We're not doing anything yet. That doesn't mean it won't. These are starting to separate. So the more this separates, the happier I'll be. So that's what I'm looking for. Now you tell me with, well, we're going to go into that later. Just ignore, I pretend I didn't even start talking. Now that's a little bit, let's see here. Get a little bit darker, more concentrated, there you go. You definitely, it takes a second to start to separate, but you can see that separation happening there. I'm seeing some of that purpley or dark, very dark blue or purple color coming out here. I think it's more of a purple coming through here. All right, let's get some more water down here. Putting a lot of water down. And let's see what we got here. So this is starting to really take off there through the water. Wonderful. Let's see what that does. I don't know why on all the blues they like to put orange with it. Now, I mean, I know why. Yes, orange with blue, it separates a lot. But I don't know if you can see... Oh boy, that's way out of here. Okay, I don't want to put it down on anything because of that, and I know the focus is a little off. But see how there's always orange with blue here? In the first set, there was some blue with pink, but there's orange and blue here too. So these two are just different kinds, different shades of blue, I guess, with orange. They like to do that. I'm just going to leave this here. I'm going to show you, we're going to go back to the thing in a second. But I'm just going to put down, I'm going to do this a different way. Hold on here. Now let's get some water in here. So put some water in here, put some water in here, in here, in here, and in here. Wonderful. There's a lot of water in there. That's what we want. I'm going to start to separate the paints, and I'm going to leave them here pretty close to the camera so you can see when they start to separate and what they do, okay? So I think that's important. I'm going to get as much paint as I can on here, get a little bit more concentration on here. As concentrated as I can in here, and let it separate by itself and just show you what it looks like after it separates, because that was something that was kind of interesting to me. And these paints are not staining the brush at all. I barely had to wipe that out. Anyway, let's try and get as much paint as we can into these. I'm going to do them in the same order that they're in a circle so I can remember what I did here for what. And let's see if they separated the way that the other ones did, because the other ones separated very interestingly in the palette. You could see it in the palette when you left it for a while. So I'm going to speed through the actual separation part so you don't have to be bored with that, because, you know, watching paint separate is almost as boring as watching paint dry. But it takes time is what I'm saying. It's going to take a little bit of time for this to separate. Let's see how much we can get in here. Okay. Oh, maybe it did stain the brush a little bit. I don't know. Does that stain the brush a little bit? No, I don't know. I can't really tell. There might be a little bit of residue on that. Let's put this blue in here, which does not look like blue. That does not look like blue at all. It looks like green. It looks like a dark, dark, muddy. It almost looks like that color. It should be this color, but it's not. It's a blue. It just, man, there's that dark. All right, we're gonna keep going here. Do this as best as I can. This is not something you're doing when you go out plein air painting or something like that. You go sketching with a little sketch box of this stuff. You're not doing this. You're not sitting there putting this out in the middle of the woods somewhere. By the time this thing separates, you'd have bird crap in it. Well, let's not say that. By the time it separates, you'd have probably some bark and some leaves and some dust and things like that. You might have a little bit of bird crap, but that just adds to the texture, that's all. Who doesn't like a little bird crap in their plein air painting? Okay, I will be back in a minute when this stuff separates a little bit more, I hope. That's what we're hoping here. I want it to separate a little bit, so I'll be back here in a minute. But before I leave, I'm gonna do one more here, just of the other color from the other set, because I wanna show you what the other set did, because I think it was already separating a little bit more than these are. But let's see, I'm gonna try it. Okay, I'm gonna use the Aurora Violet for this one. I think that's the one I'm gonna use here, because it's right on the end, it's just easier to grab. So I will put that in here. And let's see if this one separates any differently than the other ones separate. While I'm having that separate, I just wanted to point out that you can see a lot of separation in here. You could in this one. When I did the water and then I put the charge of the paint into it, you saw a lot of separation here. And this one did separate a lot compared to, I mean, this one separated a lot compared to that one, but it almost got rid of almost all the green. The green becomes the undertone here, where here, it's almost like the orange is the undertone. So it kind of flipped spaces over here, switched spots over here. But let's see what happens over there. I'm letting it sit for a while. I want it to sit for a good time so we can really see. But you can see in this example that it's already happening. You can see all the yellows separating out of that red, and the red's turning more of a pinkish, like almost like a magenta color instead of that dark, deep red. It's kind of, I guess, you would think this combination would produce an orange. That's what you would think. This is not orange at all. It's just a deep red with some yellow undertones. And then right under here, you see that little bit of that magenta color. I'll zoom in on these here a little bit. This one here separated. You see all the purple starting to come out of it. This one, you can see a different shade of blue and green kind of coming out of itself, but it's not separating as pronounced as the rest of them. You can't really see much separation there. This one you can definitely see the very, very dark blue with a lighter blue that's in it, so I get that. What I don't see is the orange. I don't see the orange in this one. Maybe a little bit in the little spots around the very, very edge, but not a whole lot. Hopefully in the one that's separating, there's a lot more orange in it. And then this one, yeah, you can definitely see that light blue, almost like just an aqua color almost. It's a little bit on the green side, which I think it's supposed to be here. So it's matching what it's supposed to say, or what it's supposed to do, not what it says. Paint doesn't talk. You can try. If you hear your paint talking, you have to go talk to someone else. This is the light area here. It's a little bit of the green and then the dark, dark blue in there. So violet, it stopped being violet as far as I'm concerned. It moved more to like a really, like a warm blue, like a very, very dark warm blue. Like I don't know. I'm going to say it, but it's not right. So just don't yell at me. Oh, you know how dark the endandothrine blue gets? It's like that. Very, very dark, but this is more of a red color. You can see a little bit more of the purple in here. Like if you married endandothrine blue with like a ultramarine blue or something, that dark, deep blue that gets to the red side. That's what that's like, where this one doesn't look like that. This one looks like a cooler blue. It's just dark. So that's interesting. Okay, so I may have done this wrong. It has not separated the way that I thought it was. Maybe I should use a little less water. What I'm going to do is put a little bit in here, just a little bit in the bottom, and put one of these colors to see if it separates a little bit more in the centerpiece. So I'm just going to put a little bit of water here, just a little bit. There we go. And let's see if it separates more in that than it did in the other. So let me take, which color should I use? Maybe the olive, because that's a very stark, between the purple and green, very stark. I'm going to use the olive. That should separate just fine in here, hopefully. Let's see what that does right here. Now, for those of you keeping track at home, the olive has seemed to have changed quite a bit. So I think it is separating. I think everything is working the way that it's supposed to. You can see very clearly, I think you can anyway, that that color is not this color. That has turned almost like a purple, and this has turned almost like, this is still the muddy color. This hasn't separated yet. This has turned orange, which means that the yellow and the red are separating. This one is very, we're going to see. Give me a minute. We're going to let it go for a little bit longer. Then we're going to put them on here and see what it looks like. And I'm 65 and my AARP has just kicked in. My reverse mortgage is in full swing. Let's see if these actually separated the way that we wanted them to. I can't get everything on. Oh, yes, I can. I can do that. Look at that. It's like I'm an invention. What's the word? Magician? I think that's a magician. I'm not an invention. That's a thing. Okay, so let's see here. We're going to start with this one here. You can see this separated. It looks more yellow than it did. I'm going to lightly touch it to see. I don't want to stir it up. So I just want to see if I can separate. Has it separated? Oh, that's a different color, isn't it? That's definitely a different color. I'm pushing the pen in, just getting some. Look at that. How about that? That's a completely different color, isn't it? That is beautiful. Wonderful. Let's see how that turns out. I'm trying not to disturb the water too much because you can remix this. Look at the granulation on that one. That has a ton of granulation on that one. Now let me ask you a question. No, I don't want to ask you that question yet. We got to go into, I keep going to ask you a very important question, but I have to do it during the video. This is the video. You know what I mean, during the drawing part. Okay, so let's go to the next one. This is the olive, cosmic olive here. And here you have, well, that's pretty close to the cosmic olive that we had. So maybe a little bit more of that purple in there. Maybe. I'm going to try and push that in there a little bit more and pick up some of the underneath. Yeah, see, I had to push in a little bit and pick up some of the underneath pigment that was kind of pooling on the side. So look at that. That is great. That's wonderful. This is a paint that you're not going to do this anywhere else except in your studio. You got to let this sit for a while. Let's see here, some of this here. Now this is a very interesting one because there's not a lot of separation here to begin with. So I'm not really sure what it's supposed to separate into. I guess I'll see. I'll see how it turns out here. But I'm trying to make sure that I get as far down into that as I can and make that as wet as possible so that we can get all of the separation we're supposed to get. Let's go to the next one here. So this is, oh, I almost dipped in the wrong one. That would have been terrible. Okay, so this one here, I said I'm going to put them in order so I don't mess it up, and I'm going to mess it up because I'm me. Oh, do you see the orange? Right away, you see that little bit of orange over there? So that's actually at the bottom of this. At the bottom, there's some orange, and you're getting that mixed in. Let me see if I can... So if I move the brush just a little bit, you'd get more orange if I touch down and move a little bit. Let me try that with some of the other ones just to see. So I'll try with this one. We'll do that. I'll move it a little bit and pick it up and then just draw something up here. There you go. Just something up there. It's close. That one's going to be close because I think I might have done that accidentally already. Let's see. This one I did too. You can see that. You can see the orange there. I mean the green. The green. That's what the color is. Green. Yep, there we go. That green is that. Now this one, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't think there's much of a difference in this one. I think it's just a granulating paint in general. I don't know if there's much different color. Oh no, maybe there is. That looks more blue. That looks a lot more blue than this. So maybe there was like a lighter blue that hangs out at the bottom. That could be. Okay, let's see this one. I already did that one, so I'm not going to do that one again. But for the sake of my OCD, I'm going to have to, because I've got to make sure that I put down, you know, the top on the hat, you know, that thing. So anyway, you can see that there. Now this one here has separated into a beautiful like teal, I don't know. It looks to me almost like it looks more like a turquoise. That's what it looks like, a turquoise. But let's see. Oh, I got to put it down next to it because you dummy. All right, let's slide this over just a little bit here. Oh, that separated a lot, didn't it? That separated a lot, and I'm touching down on the bottom, so that's why. Let me see if I touch down a little bit less and don't touch the bottom as much, if I can just get that top color. And it looks like I can. So, different colors in here doing different things. Now, let's see. This is the one, well, this is the one, I'm not going to do that one yet. Let's do the one from the last set. So this is from the last set. If I just barely dip in here and just don't touch the bottom, that's the color that I get. Just like that, a very light color, very light blue color. But if I touch the bottom, drag a little bit, and then I put it down, you get that color. So these are separating where the bigger pigments are flowing down to the bottom. The lighter pigments are staying up. You have to decide where you want to pull from in the set to get the color you want to get. I don't know how these would mix at all. Maybe I should try a little bit of that. But now this is the one that I separated. It was just a little less water. And that was, okay, so that's different. Which one did I say that was? I thought that was the olive. Yeah, so the olive, when you just dip barely, you get that purple color coming out. And then if you dip a little bit harder, you're going to get that green color in it. So I already basically did that here. Not much difference. So it doesn't really matter how much water you use. Matter of fact, this one here is continuing to separate probably more than any of them with the yellow and then that red or that pink or whatever it's called. That's like I don't know. I'm going to just set this over here for a second. I'm going to do some mixing as well. But I just wanted to see here. I want to zoom in a little bit and let you take a closer look at some of these. Okay, so here's the Cosmic Red. Look at you can see this is a different paint than this. This is a different paint than this. These are three different types of, or different colors in my opinion. Not paint, they're the same paint. You know what I mean? They're different colors. So you can see a lot of granulation in here. You can see a granulation in here. And you can see a ridiculous amount of granulation in here. This color here separates into three different things. You're going to have three different paints when you use this one color, which is great. You can get three different, completely different shades. I think that's wonderful. Let's go over to the olive. Again, and this looks more olive now. It actually dried a little bit more like a dark, not an actual olive, like a dark olive, almost like you're taking an olive and mixing it with a little bit of just a sepia or something. It's just a little bit darker. This separates, you can see a little bit here. This is completely different again. You have the complete separation of the purple and the green, and it just kind of, you can see all the granulation in here. It's still drying, so this will granulate even more. Okay, here, the least changing paint here. However, you can see a lot of like a lighter blue here, and then a different kind of green here. So you can see some difference, but it's very different, or it's very different than the other ones. It's very similar between the three ways you do it. You're not going to get much benefit of changing or soaking this one or anything else. It's basically what it is. You get a little bit lighter. This almost looks like it has a yellowish undertone, even though I don't think it does. I don't think it's supposed to. I think it's just supposed to be a green and a blue, but I don't know. It looks a little different. Your Cosmic Blue, very different. Completely different paints. This looks like a solid color. Wonderful, beautiful color. I love that color. But then you get over here and you get the separation in here with just a hint right on the edge of some orange. Just a little bit of a hint. And then here you have that big orange streak that just comes out in it when you just dip a little bit further into the paint. You swipe, compared to the lighter blue that's here. This blue and this blue look nothing alike, but they are. That's what they are. Here's your violet, and again, looks like a beautiful color, a lot of granulation, you can see it in there. But here is where it really, I think this looks beautiful. I think all the separation in here looks absolutely wonderful, but this is very different. All the this is like the first one. See, this is like this one up here. See how much granulation poured through the whole thing? That's what this one's doing, is just granulating all through there, and absolutely beautiful. Love this color. This is a great color here. I like it. I don't really like this color as much as I like this color. This is beautiful. And you saw, just like the last one, I used this color just to try it. It was the violet. Here's what it looked like last time, which is the separating. Here's what it looks like, but I didn't, this isn't the soaking version of it. I didn't soak it, this one. This one I did. You have the complete pastel kind of, oh, it's still wet. I just touched wet paint. Not pastel, it's like a very, well, kind of a pastel. It's a very light blue. And then you have that light pastel pink that goes with it. So people will love this, but this is the actual mass tone of that color. So it's very different again. So all in all, I think that these are, I've never seen paint that you can actually get 3 different colors out of each one, except for this one. I think that's very similar. But the rest of them, 3 completely different colors out of them. I think it looks very nice. These 2 are similar, but not as, this is very defined. There's a lot of big, thick purple line around the whole thing. Absolutely wonderful. I think these paints are great. I do not know what's going to happen with mixing these, but I wanted to try it a little bit. We're kind of heavy into this video here. It's getting to be a long video. That's okay. Don't worry about it. Some people don't like that. That's just tough. You don't have to watch the whole thing. Other people do like it. They want to watch the whole thing. So let's take, I don't know how this is going to work, but let's take this color here. I'm just going to touch it a little bit in here and get some of that color out. We're going to put it on the page just like that. And then I'm going to take another color. Let's say I take this color here and I'm going to put it with it. Let's see if it blends together, how that works. I'll try it that way, blending it on the page. Maybe I'll add a little bit more to that. I'll add a little bit more in here and kind of do that. Let's see what happens there. But I'm also going to mix them on a palette. Well, I say a palette, I mean a dish. So let's say I want to take 2 colors now. I'm going to add a little bit of water to this. I'm going to add a little bit of water in here, like that, down in the corner. Then I'm going to take some paint straight from here. So I'm going to take that Cosmic Violet and put some in here. I do like that color. I think that's one of my favorite colors that's in here. It separates absolutely wonderfully. I think it's very nice. We're going to do that here, just like that. Now, all these colors are they're going to conflict with each other, but I do want to take some of this Cosmic Red here and put this in here because I want to see what it will do. I just want to see how it separates, where it'll separate. Will the 2 colors on the bottom mix with the 2 colors on the top? I have no idea. We're going to find out right now. Let's see how that works. So I'm going to let that sit for a second. We're going to put this over here to the side, let that sit while we mix a couple more colors. In the meantime, let's mix a couple other colors. Now that one's from the old set. I don't want to mix that one. But let's pick this green here. And then we're going to take this one here. Let's see what that does. Let's mix those 2 together and see how those separate. You can see this, get a lot of different shades in there. It's very light, but you do get a lot of different shades in it. Now what happens if I take, I'm going to take one of these colors. I'm just going to take this color red because it's so, oh, look at that. There's no water on the water brush. Isn't that ironic? But that's okay. Don't worry about that. So we're going to put some color down here with some plenty of water now. There's plenty there. And maybe then I go into here and I pick one of these other colors, maybe this one here, and put that into it. Let's see what happens when you do that. Let's see if how it blends or doesn't blend or whatever the case is. Let's see how that works. So that would be the 1 and 2. I did that with the red and with the olive. Now because that green doesn't separate a lot, I think it is a good color to mix with other colors. So you can try doing that again. Let's see. We'll do that over here. I'm going to drag on the bottom a little bit, get some of the other color mixed in with it. It's still, again, very light because it uses a lot of water to separate them. So that's just how it is. And then I'm going to take this blue here and just drop it in. Did I already do that one? I think that's the combo that I already did. So we'll do another one. Let's see if we put this in here and drop that in with it and what happens. I think you can do that. I think everything looks wonderful when you do. So let's just see what happens with that now. Now, quickly, I also want to take, what happens if you take the red and mix it with a blue? Does it give you a purple? Especially if you mix it with the blue that has the purple. So I'm going to take two different bits of red here, just two, one here, and we'll do one here, and pull that down a little bit so you can see it. And let's see the Cosmic Violet, which has the violet in it, if that blends well with that, just right here on the page, just like that. I'm going to drop some water into it, maybe to get a little bit more separation. And then we're going to take the other blue, which is the Cosmic Blue, and we're going to put that one with this one. And just a easy little mix there, not a whole lot. I'm still going to drop some water into it to separate a little bit. I like the way that that's looking. That could be a cosmic color. Look at that color right there. That's a cosmic thing right there if you've ever seen one. Okay, let's come back to this one now. Now, oh, I'm starting to move it. You can see it separating right there. So let's see, I'm going to just dip a little bit in the edge, and you end up with a very pale. So if you can tip it then. You tip it and separate the color yourself. That's very interesting. But anyway, doing that or touching the bottom and getting that purple on there. And there you go. So you can mix them there. You can mix them on the page. I think I like the way that they mix on the page a little bit better than the way that they mix in the pan. I think I'm a big fan of how these have mixed on the page. I like that. These two came out very similar, but dark. There's some darkness in here. Yeah, I want to take this up a little bit. Let's pull some of that water up a little bit just to see what's underneath. And you get some really, look at that color. It's very beautiful, very vibrant, and I'm actually taking the water away doing that. So wonderful. Let's see if I can do it on this one. And yes, look at that. Look at the color underneath. So that some of that green is coming up off the top and just leaving that beautiful color on the bottom. Very interesting. I'm going to do a lot of charging into this one. We're putting a lot of water down. We're going to do a lot of charging in. And a lot of mixing on the page. That's what we're going for. Okay, well, while things are not 100% dry here, they are mostly dry now. So you can see this kind of it got a little muddy. I will admit, this is a little muddy up here. Might not want to do that. This as well was a different color, very unique color, but it did darken down. It dulled down a little bit from mixing. So they may not be good for mixing so much. This one, beautiful. I love the way that this mixed on the page. That is wonderful. This is a little weird. I mean, when you have purple and green, I don't like the combination myself. It's not for me. I don't think it's very nice, but it did separate. If you like the color, it's separated nicely. You can see the granulation. And then this one here is different. There was a lot of red here, a lot of the light blue, very pale color there. This one didn't really do much different than what it is. The orange kind of separated in with the blue, so or with the green or whatever that. Yeah, green and blue. I think it was the blue from the green and then the orange from the other blue that kind of mixed together. So all in all, I think that it's interesting. Maybe not for mixing so much, except for this combination right here. I think is beautiful. So when you take the greens and mix them, I think that it works for whatever reason. It blends nicely with certain colors. That's fine. Okay, so let's get into the painting. Okay, so I still have these paints sitting here. They're still separating. It's been sitting here for an hour. They're still separating even more than they were before. That red is almost completely gone, where there's just yellow on top, like a transparent yellow. You can see the bottom to the red. And the rest of them have just even separated even more. It's just, they just keep separating. The thing is, you have to prepare if you're going to use them this way. You have to set that out, let it sit for an hour. It's still separating even more. So let it sit for an hour, then use it just with the regular ones. Then you start dipping in as well. Put some water down, put some stuff in there. You'll see me do all sorts of stuff with this. The thing is, in the end, it doesn't look like it's a dark painting, but in the beginning when I was putting the paint on there, it looked so dark. It looked like it was a gloomy mess, and I didn't like it at first. As it dried, it lightened up, it got brighter, and some of those colors kind of popped, the pinks and the purples and a little bit of the yellow in there. And it actually looks very nice. At first I said, there's no way you can just do a whole painting just with this set. You need to add the other set too, which I didn't do in this one. I just wanted to make it just this set two. That way you can see what you're going to get if you just get the one set. But I really think these two will complement each other very well when you put them together. I think once you take both of those sets and put them together, you're going to get something much better than just using the one set. What I think is, when I was putting it in, I was trying to do all the different things together. I did mix a couple of colors, not very many, maybe one or two. With the greens, I did that. But then also, and I'm looking at it, of course, but also what I wanted to do was try and make it so that it's cohesive. And at first, when I was putting the paint in, you'll see, the paint part, it does not look cohesive. It doesn't look like it should go together, like these colors aren't matching each other. The more I went, the further I went with it, the lighter everything got and kind of blended so much easier. So I think in the end, you can use just one set or just the other set. That's fine. Or in my opinion, you put them both together and it's much better. That's just what I think. So just so you know, I did put this in the B paper watercolor book. That's what I was using. I was using the Tombow Fudonosuke pen. I don't know how you say that. That's this one here. And it's the soft brush one. So they have a couple of them that has a felt tip, and you either have a soft or you have the harder tip. They both can make the exact same lines. It's just how hard you have to push to get the tip to flex a little bit. This one's a little bit softer, so you get a little bit more line variation. The other one you can hold a little bit straighter and get a straighter line without the line variation if you want, and then you push a little harder and get it on there. But I decided to use the soft one. I've been gravitating towards this one a lot more lately. I don't know why. And of course, I'm not talking about it. And I had a couple of Meeden palettes that I was using to mix things with. That little star dish one, or flower dish one, whatever you want to call it, that's a Meeden palette. I did use I used painter's tape. It was a mistake. So you saw it came off a little bit. Usually I do put that on my pants or something to get some fuzz on it. So you put it on there, it's easy to take off. But I usually use the washi tape, so I don't even think about it. The washi tape works fine on all the papers. This paper does tend to tear a little bit when you put like a painter's tape on there, something that's very tacky. It's a strong painter's tape. So it did pull up some of it, but it wasn't a big deal. It's not like I can't feel, it's not like anything tore. It just, some of the fuzz came off, but I feel it, nothing's there. You don't feel any of the issues there. So it still works just fine. From what I understand, they do not tell us if these are, if they're light fast or not. They don't have any kind of information on it. It just says water-based pigment. So it is, pigment paint. I just want to read the back because everybody yells about this. It says right here in the bullet point, don't yell at me. It says apply water brush with color to activate it. That's not me, that's them saying it. You yell at them for telling me to use this. I'm just following directions this time. So if you ask me, these are a little bit more transparent than their other paints. When you talk about these, I'm saying these as in both of these sets, both of the granulating sets, they appear to be more transparent than the Nouveau set. The Nuance set is the other one, the smaller set. And then I've even tried the graphite set, and those are opaque. So they are just a little bit more transparent than any of the other paints I've used. But I haven't used the standard set of paints. I haven't used their regular set of however many it is, 48 or whatever that is. Their normal set, I haven't used that. Just the specialty sets I'm talking about. These are a little bit more transparent than all the other ones. And I don't mind either way. I don't care if they're a little bit more opaque or a little bit more transparent. These, I think it helps if they're transparent because you have color sitting on top of color just by itself. So you can see the underside, you can see the granulation that settles into the nooks and crannies of the paper, and then the other paint kind of sits on top of it, and you can see right through it. So I think these are a little bit more transparent that way. I'm sure some of like the granulating part is a little bit more opaque. I'm not saying it's like 100% transparent watercolor. That's not what I'm saying. It just appears more transparent than the other ones. So all in all, I thoroughly enjoyed them. I think that, like I said, you have to use them together. I think all of the paints work well together. You know, the Nuance set and the Nouveau set, that one worked well together. These work well together, like just put together. I have not, the graphite, I really enjoy the graphite set. I really like them as like a sketching set because you have a lot of different variation there, and I enjoy that as well. But, and the way that it finishes, that finish that makes it look like graphite, but it's not, it's just a beautiful finish. It reminds me very much of the graphitin, that's the word, the graphitin. It reminds me very much of that, so. Maybe I'll do another one where I put the two granulating sets together. I'll do another video with that. If you want to see that, let me know. I'll put both granulating sets together, use them interchangeably all throughout the whole painting, all 10 colors, put them together. It could be fun. Like I said, if I know anything, is that these colors, these paints all work extremely well together. Just like these people popping up on the screen here, they work wonderfully together. They work with me. I appreciate them very much. So thumb up the video if you're going to try some of these granulating paints. If you like them, and here's the question that I have for you that I've been saving through the whole thing, is this. Sometimes it's called granulating, sometimes it's called separating. Some people say granulating can mean two different things. It could mean separating paints, or it can mean granulating, like you can see the granulation in the paint. I think granulating is granulating and separating is separating, but it could be the other way because I'm usually wrong. So you can tell me in the comments below, just yell at me, I'm fine with that. But I'm like I said, I'm sitting here, now it's however much longer this is, still separating. And they separate different depending on how much water you put in. The other red one didn't separate as much than the other one. It's just different, that's all. Okay, I'm sure I went through this without making any mistakes at all. I have been waiting for this for so long. Today I have the Gansai, it's a Gansai Tambi, it's the Kuretake, let's start that again. And it says right here, you're gonna apply nothing. And it says right here, apply the water brush with color to activate it. You heard them. I didn't say it, they said it. Shut up. Oh, this guy thinks he's so great and he's not even using a real watercolor brush. Let me tell you something. They told me to use it, not me. And I've used the shadow colors. These aren't shadow colors. That was the other company. These are the graphite colors. So your mother was a donkey who pulled pumpkins. I just spilled that everywhere. I told you. I shouldn't have water on my desk. If you would like to join our community, go to illustrationsbypete.com. You can come in, you can put your own artwork on the site and promote it. You can find some inspiration in the free reference photos. You can just use them however you want in your artwork. You do not need to credit me. Or you can come into the forums and talk to some people and maybe give some advice and maybe find a little bit of information that helps you. So come check us out. All right, that's about it for me. I'm going to go. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.